Greetings and welcome to this episode of the Loveseat Therapist. Thanks so much for coming by and joining us as we do a pretty deep dive into today's topic. So the first thing I want to say before anything else is thank you so much for coming by. I know I say that all the time, and you hear that from other people on YouTube channels. But I really mean this. I really mean this. I started this out just kind of a experiment, and you guys have just taken off with it. So I love you. Thank you. Please let me know in the comments if these subjects are helpful, if you would like some additional subjects to be discussed. This is an open conversation. I am not a doctor. I am not a licensed medical, psychological anything. I have no degrees in any of that kind of stuff at all. I am just a random person on the internet sharing my personal stories and trying to spread that information and be helpful for others that are going through similar types of things. So today we are looking at our stories. What is our story? You've heard that line. What's your story? You know, what's his story? So we can't ever tell what anybody else's stories are, but we are completely 100% in control and in charge of, responsible for our personal stories. Okay. And this started out the other day. I got a PM from a friend. She said she had a crazy night of internal conflict, bad memories like a floodgate that didn't stop, strange. And she was just wondering on it and wondering why, reflecting on it and wondering why. So I got that PM and I thought about it and I said, well, first of all, I love you and congratulations for not giving up the battle. Now, shadow work is a never-ending process. You just allow the memories to run like a movie about someone else's life. You aren't the same person you were a minute ago, let alone past selves. So it really is old stories told about someone else, not you. And her answer was, I like that. Yes, completely different circumstances and doesn't hold true anymore at all. And I said, yes, exactly. It was a wonderful little text chat, very, very easy to simply just give that information and have it confirmed. So we are looking much deeper today into this subject of what is our story? What is your story? What is the story that we want to be telling other people? What is the story that we're telling ourselves? And I know that you've heard this before from me and from others. You know, if you're not green and growing, you're brown and dying. What story are you telling? Are you telling a story of desolation, of bitterness and anger and betrayal and sadness and worry and anxiety and depression and fear? There's really two central emotions for the human psyche. One of them is love and the other is fear. The opposite of love is not hate. Hate comes from fear. The opposite of love is fear. So we want to bring this energy into our story. We want to bring the energy of love because from love comes all creation. That's where we are green and growing. When we are operating from that place of love, there is nothing but green and growing. If you don't feel like your story is one about you being green, being healthy, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of the above. We can look backwards and see where we have been, but understand those rear view mirrors, those little side mirrors and stuff, they're little. The windshield is not. The windshield is big. Okay, there's a reason why those mirrors are tiny and the windshield is big. Yes, we do need to look at our past. We do need to understand what happened. Not dwell on it, but understand the lessons, decide. Some things we loved. Some things were amazing from the past. We don't want to keep reliving those either. We want to take what was good and use it to help expand more good into the future by paying attention to the good that's present right here. So that's why the windshield is super big and the rearview mirrors are teeny tiny, because we do want to know where we're coming from. Just like a GPS, it can't tell you how to get to where you want to go if it doesn't know where you're coming from. So yes, absolutely, we need to know where we're coming from, but not be locked into that as our identity, because we don't have to keep that story if we don't want to. Bob Proctor, he said it way millions of years ago. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So we can revisit things from the past, and in our imaginations we are replaying a scenario. Our subconscious mind doesn't know that we're just replaying this out of the top of our, imagination, and it's going to think that we're in the middle of that experience again. So it's super important to be aware of what you're thinking and what you're thinking about. Are you thinking about past events that were hurtful and harmful that have not been addressed yet? Then you want to go ahead and address those as your good shadow work. And I've done other videos on shadow work. I think it was Shadow Work 2.0. I'll try to remember to get that in at the end of this, in case you guys missed that. I believe that would be helpful for this as well. But we want to really pay attention to what we're imagining. If we're imagining future events that we are worried about, that we are anxious about, that we think are not going to go the way that we want them to go, well, you're telling the subconscious that's the way it is, because the subconscious doesn't know the difference. I'll expand it, okay? Let's talk about Maxwell Maltz. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between an imagined experience and a real experience. So if you have been sick a lot as, a regular thing in your past, there's a good possibility that you are regurgitating, ruminating like a cow, keep chewing on that cud, of old experiences that no longer serve you. Okay? You want to look at those experiences. You want to understand the lesson. That's where the key is. That's where the treasure is understanding the lesson in all experiences of the past, good and bad. The things that are good, the lesson is, this is what we want to continue. This is what we want to do more of. This is what we want to expand on. The lessons from the bad experiences, this is what we don't want. This is what we don't want to continue. This is what we don't want to expand. And keeping in mind, what you're focusing on is what you're drawing to you. Okay? So I keep saying it over and over again. It's super important. It's super important. It is critical that we are aware of what we're thinking and how it's affecting us physically, energetically. We are broadcasting that energy into the quantum field for our future and present, and for the entire 3D reality. You're affecting everybody. I'm affecting everybody. From moment to moment, our energy, because we're all connected. There is no separation. We are all connected. Now, I love this quote from Alan Watts. You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. That's exactly what I was telling my friend. That you can choose the story you want to tell about your life. Who are you? Who are you? Not who do you want to be? Who are you right now? Are you a successful entrepreneur? Are you a successful father, a successful mother, a successful daughter, a successful son? What are you now? What are you projecting now? You get to choose. If you don't like the story, if you don't like what happened in the rearview mirror before, you can change it. You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. So I want you to really think about this. What is your story? What do you want to tell? What do you want to create? Because you are creating, you are manifesting wherever you are right now. It's a result of what you have been focusing on and bringing towards you previously. If you're not happy with it, stop. Don't do it anymore. It's like driving a car. If you're not happy with that road, take the first turn that you see and go somewhere else. If you're not sure where you're going, any road's going to get you there. So you really have to decide who you are and who you want to be, not in the future, but right now. Who's the person you want to be right now? I wrote this a couple years ago. Your vision of the future will be so much clearer if you leave the past behind, like dust in the rearview mirror. It's important to learn the stories of the past, to understand the lessons, good and bad, to help plot the course for your present and the road going forward. That's it. Very, very simple, not complicated. If you don't like your story, you can change it. You have permission to do that from the universe. Don't even question. Who do you want to be? What is your story? I want you to make that decision today. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. I love you. Have the most amazing day. And ciao for now.